Lori on
You want to know how I'm doing? Nobody asked. Great. Thank you. This is a little annoying, Jerry.
we got to have it, though.
Okay.
Yeah. Second row left, Lori.
Hi, Lori.
Hi, Coach. How are you doing?
Awesome. Thank you.
When you have as many departures as you had,
Yeah.
do you ever put more emphasis on current polish than future potential in recruiting more so than you otherwise would?
I think we're looking for guys that can play right away all the time. I think that's a great question. But I think when you're at Ohio State, you're looking for the best players in the country, and you would think the best players in the country would have the opportunity to play early. And so I don't think there was a greater emphasis on that. But, I think we found some guys that are going to be able to contribute right away. So we're excited about that.
Don't you ever find a kid at a high school who's just not set up to provide that kid with the basis to make him a college-ready player?
I don't know that you always know that in advance. I would have told you, you take a kid like Eli Apple, who was a 5-star recruit and an Army All-American, and then he didn't play his first year because he was awful. And 2 years, 3 years later, he's going to be a first or second round draft pick. So everybody develops at different rates. Some kids are going to go to work tomorrow on preparing for June the 12th and August whatever, and some kids aren't. And so the kids that are going to go to work out of this class are going to have every opportunity to be on the field in the fall.
Front row right here, Austin.
Hi, Austin.
Hey, Kerry. Urban mentioned the secondary is first and foremost the position that's got to be addressed moving now forward.
Sure.
This may not be possible for you, but does that give you more energy? I mean, more urgency?
Well, I think we're urgent about everything we do. We lost 3 really good players, and they were all underclassmen. And when that happens, you have to understand that you're going to replace them with young players. We had a great workout this morning, and I got to see an awful lot of really good young players run around that field. So I'm not one bit discouraged. Is there urgency? Sure, because there are more holes to fill than there were last year at this time. At the same time, it's very similar to the situation we found ourselves in 2014. And we're replacing some guys, and you know what? Guys stepped up and played and had great off seasons, and we're prepared to go. And I think that's what's going to happen with this group. So I don't know that we're always urgent, and I think we're always passionate about what we do, so I think we're going to be okay.
Middle, Ryan.
You spend a lot of time in
Hi, Ryan.
Hey. You spend a lot of time in Michigan. Whenever a new
You just
staff,
stayed up north, Ryan. That'll cost you 10 push-ups later.
when a new staff comes in, do you spend time trying to see what they're doing and how that might impact you and your efforts in the state down the road, and has it at all?
Well, sure. Anytime you're recruiting against people, which is what we do, right? And especially when you go into another state to recruit against people, you're going to have to evaluate how they do their business. And the guys that have been at the green team have done things a certain way, and now those guys at the team up north have changed some of their habits, although I would tell you that the previous staff, those were good recruiters. And so you have to battle in different ways. But the main thing for us is not to really concern ourselves as much with our opponents as with the kids that we're recruiting and what we have to sell. When you have a great product like we have, I don't think it matters as much the style or substance of how somebody else is recruiting.
And with both of those teams, looking like they're trending upwards, do you pick your spots anymore, or is there any?
Well, I think one of them only took 2 kids out of the state, to be honest with you, so I don't know what the numbers are. I know that we're going to go in there and we're going to recruit the very best players in that state, and we're going to come out with some of them every year. And we're confident in that. It's not very far away. And we've done very well there, and we're going to continue to do very well there.
Front row middle, Dave.
Hi, Kerry.
Hi, Dave.
Urban said that Denzel Ward has the inside track to be the starting corner opposite Gary Conley said on his radio show earlier today. I know Denzel Ward has a lot of speed. What else does he bring to the table that you think could enable him to win that job?
Well, I think his speed is his greatest attribute. I think he's gotten a lot stronger already, which we're encouraged by. I think he played well in special teams in some pretty critical situations. He was on all 4 running teams last year, so he got on the field experience, not enough corner experience. I know there's some other guys in that room that aren't going to allow that to be a passage that's going to go uncontested, and so there's going to be a lot of great competition there. But we're excited about Denzel. We really are.
Chance a corner could move to safety either this spring or fall? Without naming a name, is there a chance one of your guys could move to safety?
I think what you should expect from the Buckeyes is this in the back end of our defense. We're really playing a lot of corners. You know, those positions, the position that Von Bell played last year, while traditional football guys would call that a safety position, I'm going to tell you right now, that's a corner position. It happens to be an off corner and happens to be a little bit more in the middle of the field, but that takes corner skill and technique to do what Von Bell did. And those of you guys who know Von Bell could play corner in the NFL next year. He has that skill set. So those positions, in the way we play our defense right now, particularly the nickel, which I would call the slot corner, the two outside guys, and that inside, that field safety position are really corner job descriptions. And so you're going to see a lot of corners on the field in the fall.
Front row left, Bill.
Hey, Kerry,
Hi, Bill.
Marshawn Lattimore is,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure by now you had higher hopes for what he could be doing, and he's been held back by injuries, obviously. Just how is he coming along? Is there any concern on your part that his body maybe won't just allow him to sort of reach that potential that everyone thought he had?
I would say that concern, sure, because he hasn't been able to do it. When he has been healthy and been able to play, he is a fantastic player. Our job is to get him healthy consistently. And Coach Marotti, I couldn't have more faith in anybody in the world than Coach Marotti. And he's done an intensive study of Marshawn and his body and has had him tested on a number of different levels and planes and has rearranged some equipment in the weight room and some workouts to help with his particular injury issues. So far, the progress is fantastic. Very excited to see what he's going to be able to do in the spring, and looking very forward to Marshawn being a huge contributor for us in the fall.
And when a guy deals with something like that, how do you, as his position coach, maybe try to help him balance the
I mean, I think you just like you would with your son. You're going to hug him. You're going to love him. You're going to encourage him. It's easy to get discouraged when you're a high-end athlete and you're not able to work at your craft. I think it's very easy to get discouraged, and to keep players like that engaged and a part of the team is a very challenging thing. And I try to treat him like I would want my son treated, and he's included in everything. And right now he's preparing himself to play, and I'm excited about that.
Front row right, Bill.
Hello, Kerry.
Hi, Bill.
Today's the day where they sign on the dotted line.
Yeah.
Greatest moment of their life. Tomorrow, they become the guy at the bottom of the totem pole.
Why is that?
Because, first of all, they've lost their leverage. They're here.
Okay.
You got them.
I don't get you get to put them at the bottom, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, but they start from scratch.
Sure.
That de-recruitment, if you want to call it that, how important is that process? What's the challenge of handling that for kids?
I think the immediate challenge with every kid that signed today is, and we've done this, I think, Coach Meyer, the minute a player commits, changes from recruitment phase to preparation phase. And that is what every one of those kids is in now. Some of them have been in it longer than others. Obviously, the 7 that are on campus. But in other kids like Jake Hausman, who's been committed for a long time, has been working towards that for an extended period of time. Now the rules allow us to probably give them more information and things like that, workout-wise, than we would have otherwise been able to do. And so the path for those kids will be very clear and very set. And hopefully as many of them as can will be around in spring ball, be around, and be working toward June the 12th, because the rules are a little bit different. We get to do a little bit more with them in the summer. But the kid who really wants to focus on getting ready to play for Ohio State in the fall is going to have every opportunity to do that. And that's our job, to get them ready. And we spent a lot of time in conversation about that.
Have you found that certain kids have a hard time with that adjustment of, you go from we need you to, again, you have to start from scratch?
I don't think the elite athlete does. I think that kid already understands, and they've been working at a really high level already. I think the hardest thing for them to understand is the transition of time commitment and the fact that everybody on the field is literally on the same plane with them. And so the differences between player A and player B are razor thin, and they've got to find their edge to find their way on the field.
Second row left, Ari.
Hey, Ari.
How you doing?
Chose blue today.
I didn't even think about it. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
Speaking of blue, you're the one of the lead guys at Michigan, like Ryan said, and you spent a lot of time there,
Yep.
Cass Tech, and doing a lot of things with their top players. And I know that you said you don't want to spend too much time wondering about what other people in that state might be doing from a recruiting strategy.
Sure.
But the unorthodox approach that Jim Harbaugh's taken has had to have some sort of impact on some of the guys you're recruiting. A, do you have an opinion about the way that he's gone about doing things? And B, have you had to change anything that you do, or has it impacted you in any way based on the way that they're approaching things?
A, no. B, no. And I can expand on that if you like, but the reality is I haven't felt any impact on the kids that I recruit. Everybody's got their own styles and their own methodologies, and Coach Myers is very, very clear, and I think fantastic. And so our approach to the recruitment of players in Ohio and all the surrounding states is probably going to stay the same because it works for us. It's who we are. And I haven't noticed among the kids that I recruit any change or difference or expectation on their part that we would somehow become something different than the Ohio State Buckeyes.
Far over here, far right over here, Chaba.
Chaba, how are you?
Not too bad, Coach. How are you?
Fantastic.
So, if I read this correctly today, 17 of 25 commits didn't take another visit after November.
That's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doesn't that speak to the character of the kids that we're recruiting? I mean, when you think about when when there's a new category across the bottom of the screen, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it says flips, and all that kind of stuff. And we've got these kids of such quality that when somebody else is pulling at them and knocking on their door and all those kind of things, they say, "No, I'm good. I'm good." That's to me, that's remarkable, and probably that has been understated. But I haven't been in here, so anyway.
I guess the flip side of that, everything going smoothly. Today, I understand there was an issue with the fax, where there was a kid from Florida trying to get in. The fax machine wasn't working right. I mean, of all days for it to go wrong, I mean, one, but going off of that as well, have you had any other kind of recruiting day snafus, if you will, something like that happening, just completely out of the blue, where you're just tearing your hair out,
Never since I've been here. There have been years when snow has created issues for guys and trying to figure out how they're going to get their information back, but times have changed with email and being able to take pictures of things, and the rules are different, so we haven't run into a whole lot of that kind of stuff lately. A few years ago, I lost a kid on signing day, couldn't find him, things like that. That's always a little disconcerting when you're expecting paper and paper doesn't come, but nothing today. Today, I didn't know our fax was broke. Our fax was broke, Mark? Is that, oh, okay. Yeah.
And last questions, front row right here, Tim.
How often do y'all use the fax?
How you get the last question every time? Yeah.
Kind of a longevity.
Is that a tradition thing?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. Forgot what I was going to ask.
Slow hands.
I'm good at that.
Who of these guys coming in is Jordan? Who jumps out at you that you think you can throw out there immediately and compete?
And I know this is probably you're gonna call bullcrap on it, but the reality is all of them. I mean, Wayne Davis had 7 interceptions and he returned 6 of them for touchdowns. He's Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Virginia. Jordan Fuller's Gatorade Player of the Year in the state of Jersey, and Rajay Burns was a finalist for Mr. Football in the state of Kentucky, and Kareem Felder had a fantastic career, and Jocelyn Went. I mean, these are guys that can play. So we have opportunity. That's probably the most unusual thing about Ohio State right now. We have opportunity for those young guys to come in here and make their mark. So I don't know that anyone is more prepared. We'll find out over the next 4 or 5 months.
Are y'all immediately looking at Fuller as a corner? Or
Yes.
Okay. And
Big, long corner from Jersey. It sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And last thing, like you said, you've been doing it a while. What is the biggest change just in recruiting in your mind as you look back on the last 10 years that's occurred, or the last 8 years that's occurred just in pursuit of players? What's the toughest challenge that's developed, I guess?
I think the influx of information, both true and false, social media, opportunity for players to know the other players that are being recruited, and that all of the communication that goes not just from school to player, but player to player is revolutionary. I think the attention being spent on this has its positive sides because it puts college football at the forefront of America's thoughts, which I think is wonderful, and it has its negative sides because I think it has a tendency to create some things in kids' minds that probably don't exist. I don't think that any of that can be controlled. I think it's going to continue to grow and get bigger and bigger, and I think those of us that can figure out how to use and manage that to properly give the right information to kids are going to be successful, and the other guys are going to struggle with it.
One last thing, I know I said that, but Michael Jordan, once you got his commitment,
Yeah.
how tough was it to hold on to? And number two, do you still even sort of like notice, hey, this guy's from Cincinnati originally? This, you know what I mean? Do you how deep do you look into the backgrounds and know the guys that you can really go after in another state? You know, where the two major places are coming after him just as strong and stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I think all of that stuff helps you. I mean, he's got family in Louisville. He's got family in Columbus. He's got, you know, he played Little League football down there where I know a lot of folks in Cincinnati. And so all of that is helpful. Any connection that you have with a player and his family is going to pay long-term benefits in the recruitment process. We don't recruit anybody in a week anymore. I mean, you know, it's 2 years, it's 3 years. And all of those different avenues are generally positive if people that you've come in contact with have had positive experiences with you. And I think for a kid like Michael Jordan, that was a big factor in his decision to become a Buckeye. He already had a great affection for, you know, the state of Ohio and for Ohio State.
Coach, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay.